Supernatural is without doubt one of my absolute favorite shows of all time. Or rather, the first 5 seasons are. I don't think any of the ones after it are an abomination or anything, and I do deeply enjoy some of the stuff post-season 5, but for me, those first 5 seasons were just something extraordinary. It's a story that starts off simple, following 2 brothers, Sam and Dean, who hunt all sorts of supernatural creatures to protect people from harm. They set off on a quest to find their dad, who is desperate to kill the demon that murdered his wife and their mother, as well as Sam's girlfriend, and they get roped into a sprawling story that neither of them were quite prepared for. The majority of Season 1 follows a Monster of the Week structure, which does mean that the overarching plot feels like it's barely hanging in there sometimes as a through line. But it maintains this broader perspective throughout, and only builds in complexity as it goes on. And that can be said for the entire series. It's a masterstroke in planting seeds and slowly peeling back layers to recontextualize things, both in terms of emotional payoff and unraveling the tightly woven plot. And it's clear that there's a general plan in place from the start. Prior to concluding Season 5 incredibly beautifully, every season raises the stakes, introduces more characters, and deepens the lore that bit more. And the series undergoes a subtle yet clear evolution that takes you for a ride until you can hardly believe how deeply into the rabbit hole the story has gone, and how different things look from Season 1. And anchoring everything is the beautiful relationship between our 2 main protagonists, the nature of what they mean for each other, how they are each other's greatest weakness and strength, how undeniably intertwined their fates are, and most importantly here, how agonizing it can be to have to do the thankless and selfless things they do, and how the 2 feel about whether or not they've been cursed to live this life. In particular, with regards to that topic, I want to take a look at Season 2. Before the series got knee-deep into its own contextual mythology of angels and Satan and vessels and the 4 horsemen, it spent its second series of 22 episodes deepening the lore, taking the audience on a weaving journey regarding the mysteries of Sam's psychic powers, and examining the psychology of its 2 main characters. After the death of their father in episode 1 of Season 2, the boys spent a great deal of this time grieving and reflecting. There was lots of sadness simply for the loss of John, and a lot of anger at him for burdening Dean with such unenviable responsibilities. But also, through this, Sam and Dean were made to think deeply about the nature of their job, about whether or not this family business is worth getting wrapped up in the first place. And episode 20 of Season 2, entitled What Is and What Never Should Be, is the most intimate exploration of that concept. In the beginning of the episode, Dean, without Sam, decides to take a look at an abandoned warehouse on the off chance that something strange was going on within it. In it, he encounters a djinn, a creature capable of manipulating reality for its victims, putting them in a false dream world as it slowly drains the life out of them. The djinn captures him, and Dean is plunged into an alternate existence in which the most powerful of his wishes, the wish that their mother was never killed all those years ago, has become reality. From here, the episode is in part a character study of Dean, and an examination of the nuances and positives and negatives of both the life he is currently leading with Sam, and the life he could have had. It is among my favorite episodes in the series, and my favorite episodes of television in general. The mystery behind the djinn, the nature of Dean's situation, and the girl who keeps appearing throughout are all well conceived and executed, but they just aren't at all the primary things we're meant to take away from this episode. Instead, what we're meant to ponder and feel is a complex sense of melancholy for Dean, Sam, and the hand that they've been drawn in life. Dean's initial reaction to this world, after the shock of the situation wears off, is joy. He's able to hug his mother, spend time with her, and appreciate the simple happiness of mowing the lawn on a sunny day, with nothing to worry about. This feeling is compounded when he sees that he has a partner who loves and truly appreciates him, that Jessica is alive too, and that her and Sam have gotten engaged. Add all that to the fact that his father, while deceased, lived a fun and fulfilling life and never had to chase monsters for revenge, and this seems too good to be true. And the sad fact is that it is. Because once this initial joy slowly fades away, he's left to confront the flip side of living in a world so distinctly different from his reality. Here, him and Sam never really connected. The two don't interact outside of holidays and don't really act like brothers, and their relationship is an excuse of a pale shadow of the one Dean has grown to value so much. Additionally, since the two never got into hunting here, all of the people they saved are now dead, and all of the good they've done that we've witnessed in the story thus far is completely vanished. It's a sobering reality check for Dean, that every wish has its consequences, and it brings about a deep and very raw sense of frustration within him, understandably so. As he stands over his father's grave, he verbalizes the cruel nature of all of this. Despite its gigantic meaning to him and his family, the change here seems to be so small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things. To save one woman from dying, to change one family's life full of suffering into one of normalcy and happiness. But the consequences for that are so severe that it feels personal for Dean. For him to get what he wants, countless people have to die? Malevolent entities have to thrive? What the hell kind of twisted joke is that? His now strained relationship with Sam is very sad and unfortunate, but that is always something that he can attempt to patch up and rekindle. But these deaths, the amount of evil that would run rampant were John, Sam, and him to never get into hunting, the price of their happiness is so much steeper than it is for the vast majority of people in the world, and it makes it seem as if Dean's duty in life is to fulfill a role, with no freedom or flexibility or purpose other than what seems to be laid out in front of him. Here, he feels the crashing weight of the knowledge that he doesn't really have a choice in all this, and that, like it or not, he will have to bear the burden of so much importance. What if he just wanted to live a normal life? What if he didn't want that responsibility? It simply doesn't matter, because that's just how it is. And it breaks him.
It's like my old life is coming after me or something, you know, like it doesn't want me to be happy. Of course, I know what you'd say. Well, not the you that played softball, but said, go hunt the gin. It put you here, it can put you back. Your happiness for all those people's lives, no contest, right? But why? And why is it my job to save these people? Why do I have to be some kind of hero? What about us, huh? When Mom's not supposed to live her life, Sammy's not supposed to get married. Why do we have to sacrifice everything, Dad?
And now, being situated in this dream world that clearly isn't natural and being shown enough evidence to realize that he can break free from this if he so chooses, Dean is forced to make a choice. And it is painful for obvious reasons, but he decides to search for a way out of this. An understated little touch here is that after the latter's insistence, he takes this alternate reality Sam, who has no substantial attachment to Dean nor any experience with hunting, along with him to solve the mystery. And despite their relationship here, the two seem to have the hints of an inherent connection, one that seems to be so powerful that it is present no matter which events transpire and no matter what reality they reside in. It brings forth the hope and idea that the two could possibly become something close to what they were, no matter the circumstances, and it makes Dean's decision to forego this world even more difficult. But in the end, he kills himself in the dream, wakes up and sees Sam, they save the girl, and defeat the Jinn. However, the scene that shines most in the ending here is after all of this, when he recounts his experiences to Sam. He talks about how badly he wanted to stay, how painful it was to let go and return to this life, even if he knew that it was all an illusion. It's a conflicting feeling. And Sam, having not been put in that situation, replies that there's only one option here, that their lives are full of hardship, but it's worth it for all of the good that they do. Yet Dean, whether it be due to the differences in his life or his experiences in that dream world, just cannot outright respond that it's that simple for him.
I gotta tell you though, man, you know, you had Jess. Mom was gonna have grandkids.
Yeah, but Dean, it wasn't real.
I know. But I wanted to stay. I wanted to stay so bad. I mean, ever since Dad, all I can think about is how much this job's cost us. We've lost so much. We've sacrificed so much.
People are alive because of you. It's worth it, Dean. It is. It's not fair, and, you know, it hurts like hell, but it's worth it.
It's a long look here from Dean that is indicative with how inconclusive it is, how it provides us with no answers. You wouldn't change things, right? We really don't know if he would. Saving people is a wonderful thing, but why does it all have to fall on them? Was there really no chance for them to live a happy life? Are they not allowed to be a little selfish here? It isn't fair. And it sounds childish, but Dean of all people has the right to be asking these questions and feeling these things. I love that the episode straight up doesn't have Dean say that their current life is worth it, and that their reality is the right one that he wouldn't change for anything. Because simply put, that would be a sugar-coated lie. It isn't. Dean made a choice to reject that reality because he valued his and Sam's relationship so much, and because it resulted in a world where the people they saved were dead. But there was also something that made the choice a little easier. Because above all, it was fake, and the djinn was slowly killing him. He wasn't making a choice between two realities that would alter how things had happened. He was making a choice between returning to reality or dying in bliss. But if he were given the choice of actually picking between them, if you remove the factor of the djinn and concoct a hypothetical situation where Dean could pick one genuine reality out of the two, who knows what he would have done? I doubt he does. The fact is, both options have their amazing pros and horrifying cons. A world where their mother gets to see them grow up, where neither have to live in suffering in their thankless occupation, where their dad died naturally, where no one had any of these huge pains or burdens, versus a world where him and Sam are connected by this beautiful bond, where they impact things in a significant way by defeating evil and saving lives, but where they suffer in agony and find themselves spread too thin far more than is healthy. A happier, slightly selfish, ignorant existence without their bond, or a sad one where they have each other more than ever and make the world a better place, but experience more brutal realities and torment than any given person could bear. Dean is never given that choice here, but it's in this hypothetical where we see the beautiful sadness of what he has to push himself through day to day, and how much it hurts. There's a real possibility that in spite of the good things in his life, he may just prefer the alternative, even knowing the consequences. What is and what never should be is an episode and concept that strikes as deep as anything in the series, and really helps drive home the regret, sadness, and reflective side of Dean Winchester. But reflect as he may, this is simply the life he has been given, and he knows that there is nothing he can do about it. At this point, at least. So, he'll soldier on, just as he's always done, for the sake of a better world, for himself, and for his brother, constantly plagued by these thoughts, but never letting them stop him from doing what he believes is right. Many thanks for watching.
Haven't we done enough?